A little background. A few months ago, I had these cards, and we distributed them and took them up, and a couple of Sundays later, I responded to a few of them. It's sort of, what do you want to ask the preacher? You know, stump the chump kind of thing. So it's grab bag. These are the ones that are left. And the way what I plan to do is just sort of pick up a few of them as we go through here and respond to them. So it's like a test. It's a UU minister, test, surprise test, pop-up test. But more background. Religious organizations always have a system, some sense of organization. For the Jewish tradition, the rabbi would look at Scripture and look at some traditions and speak to those traditions, those experiences of the Jewish people, hopefully to bring them to apply to today's, the generality and the universality of what that Scripture, those stories might have to apply to people. For the Catholic tradition, it's usually a working through a lectionary, looking at the important Scriptures that the Mother Church has decided are important for the faithful to hear and to be taught about and to learn about. For the Protestants, it's pretty simply that too, again. I remember the United Methodists had a lectionary, and you had suggested Old Testament, New Testament Scriptures for the whole year, and you applied your thoughts to those, and you'd have some kind of system of sermon preparation. Well, the evangelical Christians, they will do more usually from Paul's writings to find some kind of justifying point that they want to make. And I've been thinking about that, and every one of those traditions have as a motivation, I think I'm being fair with this, a creation of dependency. That you need to know this stuff to fulfill your life. So I'm bringing through the act of sermons, through the act of worship, the traditions or the truths and realities that are accepted by that community are brought to the people so they can understand them and participate in the truth. Well, Unitarian Universalists, we're really out there. We're sort of out there whistling in the dark saying, I don't know. What did Albert say? I don't know. What did Carl say? I don't know. What did Jesus say? I don't know. We don't look to some abstract truth separate from our existence. But that doesn't mean we don't apply ourselves to what history has taught us. A great Universalist minister named Quentin Shin talked about the book of human nature, the book of Revelation, and the book of nature. Human nature, psychology. Revelation, scriptures. Nature, science. Those three things. And if you think about it a little bit, there's inspiration. The book of inspiration is poetry, is imagery, is understandings. It's myth, it's Edith Hamilton, it's Joseph Campbell. It's understanding how human beings have interacted with the reality of consciousness in a world that's a surprise to them. So we create stories, or we remember our stories, or we find meaning in our stories. Human nature is how we regard one another. The animal grown large. The animal grown smart. What does science tell us? What does our best knowledge tell us? What is testing the scientific method over the existence of reality? How do we go from making fire 3, 5, 6,000 years ago to transplanting another person's heart in this chest? Whoa. We're pretty smart. We're pretty capable. But we still have longings. So, with that premise, here's my first one. In a post-theistic society, what does a liberal church offer? Me, no. That's a good one. That's a good one. Post-theistic. Death of God movement. Remember that kick up a few years ago? What those guys were trying to say was the influence of the ruling deity, the church, the organizing principles of society had broken down. The fear of hell, fear of God coming in, some external forcing, directing the justice or judgment against humanity was not a powerful force anymore. In a post-theistic society, a society that doesn't depend on God too much anymore, What does a liberal church offer? I think a liberal church offers, what do you do in a post-Christian world? What do you do in a post-theistic world to keep us going on the road of being greater, deeper human beings in society, trying to save this life we've got precious? See, the reality that many of us are aware of, is the numbers and the frailness of this planet, this environmental system we have, is really real. We're getting too many people. We got finite resources. What do we do with that? How do we make choices? What's important? We have a part of society that says violence is still a part of what needs to be. Let nature take its course. Let the survival of the fittest. And some others will say that's not humane. We can do better than that. A post-theistic society, what does a liberal church offer? It offers an opportunity for people to craft a faith that will work, to save a world from itself. Do we want anarchy? Do we want a system by which the guy with the biggest gun and the meanest spirit will conquer? See, it's truth. It's truth. Marx was not wrong. Religion is opium of the masses. Let me say that again. Religion is the restraining order on our animal instincts. Spirituality is what inspires us to be about that. What inspires me? Why would I just eat what I need, not what I want? Why would I just take what I think I can get by with what I can get away with? See, those kind of questions. There is a real need right now for a sense of how do we cope with the new barbarism, the new bandit mentality, whether it be in $1,000 suits in Wall Street or in some made-up general's costume in the woods. The reality, life, and humanity needs its restraining forces out of love and care, not out of because God says it so. Okay. Reincarnation. Shall I be honest or shall I be nice? Some people just need to know answers to questions, you know? What's going to happen to me? I'm going to come back. Why am I going to come back? Because how we understand things is a response to what we need to feel about things. Does that communicate? What we understand about things is what we need to feel about things. Christians have a heaven. Well, I'm watching Vikings. Valhalla, right? I mean, we want something other than this existence. We just feel like we should have something beyond this. This just can't be all it is. It's a little bit of greed and it's a little bit of precious notion about human beings. We're so appreciative of living, we want to keep going. Even with all our complaining, we want to keep at it. We want to get better at it. Reincarnation is a response for the hunger of understanding life more fully and hoping we got a chance at betterment. See, the big deal for me is there consciousness in the next reality? If there is a next reality. Will I know you and will you know me, and does it matter? Oh, that's so sad. Why is it so hard for some UU congregations to grow? One of my colleagues says she found 3 things why UU congregations don't grow. And I sort of like what she says. She says, number 1, there's no religious or spiritual quality to its existence. Number 2, a lot of bickering over nothing. And 3 was, I forget what 3 was, but you got the idea. With so much need in the world, why should I use my limited funds to support a church which basically benefits me? Woo, that's good. I'll think I'll throw it away. Because there's no other place in society that does that for you. What kind of clubs and what kind of organizations, what kind of magazines, what kind of libraries, what kind of civil and community functions and organizations benefit us? A lot do. I think we need to tend to ourselves and find enough strength to be about our living, and I think good congregations do that. And I think it begins one person at a time. This is not to mean there's not social action and justice principles that can be applied, but they're usually applied in a consensus with people finding places to be apart. Not too many institutions move society. Institutions by nature are restraints on society. It's restraints on our independence. There's a lot of discussion now about the millenniums, those folks under 40, who are suspicious of institutions and make us baby boomers look like, old-fashioned Victorians. They don't trust nothing. And they aren't going to spend their money on nothing. And they want to know what you got for them, because they can find it somewhere else. Google is no more effective than UUCT is, okay? But there are people here. And there's a struggle for awareness here. And there's a struggle for acceptance here. And there are ideas shared here in human flesh and human relationship. Why is so much need, with so much need in the world, why should I use my limited funds to support a church which basically benefits me? Because you're worth it. Why is science so resisted by fundamentalist and conservative religious and political groups, even in the face of such overwhelming evidence? Courage is in short demand in the human experience. Let me say that. We desire safety, and we desire the absence of threats, security. And it takes a lot of courage to deal with new ideas and different ideas. And if you've got your safe harbor, if you've got your fundamentalism, if you've got the Old Testament and the New Testament to guide your living, which makes me crazy because there's nothing consistent in it at all. We used to go to UU minister meetings years ago, which was sort of irreverent, but it was true. And these guys would get in there, and they would do the old thing that the conservatives used to do: they open the Bible and just put their finger somewhere. And they would have bets within 3 verses they could find something about meanness and hate and oppression and bad stuff, Why is science so resisted by fundamentalists and conservative? Because they don't understand it. It's scary for them. And it's because we're conflicted people. It's like the great signs of don't mess with my Social Security, It's like, get me to the doctor so they can save me, but don't give me no blood. It's those kind of abilities that we have. I don't know, Grant. Why did you ask that? That's awful. Because we hate change, and we don't find courage very easily. I'm always interested, wondering about what happens, the source of transformation of people raised in bigoted, hate-filled homes who end up as loving, open to all races, genders, etc. people. Every life has a chance. Every life has an ability for awareness. We are conditioned. I put a picture of my daddy on Facebook last night, and I had 3 people come back and say how much I look just like him. Well, I look like him, but I'm a different person from him, just as you are from your parents. So every generation gets a chance to take in all this information, all these wonderful experiences, and they usually find some way of broadening. We usually are broadened and deepened by our understanding of people. Not necessarily so sometimes. And that's about, I don't know. There's whole fields of psychology and philosophy that spend up trying to figure that out. What time we got here? Okay. I feel that my ancestors are present around me to help guide me in times of my life. These spirits' energies help me see truth. How does this belief fit in with being a UU? I don't believe in heaven or hell, so how does this idea, belief, feeling blend in with UU? I think it's pretty cool. And if I've got an understanding of the spiritual world, other than me seeking to understand myself better and how to relate, it is a reality that there are presences in our lives. Now, don't get too spooked and run out of the door yet. I'm not like that. But I feel there's an awareness if we accept the awareness. And I've been to places, and you have too, that have real power in them. Maybe it's just my need to interpret it. Remember, see, we're filters of this life. We're mirrors of this life. We're sponges of this life. The world around us impacts on us, influences us, shapes us. You know, from TVs to, I watched you this morning on the new AVs. You know, this stuff really gets you. You know, I don't think half of you were watching Aaron. But it works. You know, well, understanding that about ourselves. So I think this idea of there being an awareness around us and as a part of us, I think that's a good thing. And it may be a special blessing we have. It may just come from the feeling that we don't want to feel like we're alone, which is okay. One more. Integrity. That's all it's got. Integrity is, I think, about saying what you mean and meaning what you say and being what you are. And I think Unitarian Universalists say that's what we invite you to be here. We'd like for it to be nice. We'd like for you not to be too much of a bad person dealing with other folks. But we'd hope you would be consistent with who you are and what you're about and be a person that can grow with new ideas. That's the grab bag for today. Thank y'all.